Hi everyone and welcome to my studio. This is so exciting. My name is Gideon and I'm also known as Gideon Slut, and I'm here to be your creatively fit coach. So grab your canvas, grab your paints and your art journal and join me in my studio as I show you how profound it can be in your life if you allow some space to be creative. So join me now as I show you how. Hello everybody and welcome to my studio. It is me, Gideon Slide, and it is time again for us to look at our creative prompts and to play in our art journal. And today's color is green, and we are going to be playing with some cross shapes in our journal. So for today's class, I've brought my little green journal with, because before we begin with our exercise in our journal today, I want to explore the theme of crosses with you guys, because I think that the theme of crosses is quite a loaded symbol, and I think you guys need to explore and understand it a little bit deeper. And so the first thing I want you guys to do is just to grab all of your green art supplies, have a cup of coffee or tea, something to drink, get your art journal, and let's begin. So first and foremost, I think I wanted to just share with you guys what the whole color association meaning could be for green. Green as a color is most commonly associated in the world with springtime, freshness and hope. And green is often used to symbolize rebirth, renewal and immortality. That is just so exciting. So I also believe that green can mean good luck for some people. It really is a healing color. It connects us with our heart chakra. It is a universal color of love and unity. So I do believe it is a beautiful color. It's definitely one of my personal favorites. So drop me a comment, say hello, tell me where you're watching this episode from, and tell me how do you feel about the color green. So now that you've taken out all of your green art supplies and you're going to be playing with some of them or all of them, see what inspires you, I wanted to just talk a little bit about this particular shape that I'm challenging you guys to work with. So the first traditional, most commonly known way to do a cross is a very religious cross, and we all know this one, and this has different meanings for different people in different parts of the world. So I think as an artist it is always good to explore symbolism and to see how we understand that symbolism and what that symbol is communicating, firstly to us and then to the rest of the world. And because crosses is such a worldwide religious foundational symbol, it has centuries of meaning ascribed to it. It is very important when you play with crosses and use it in your art journal or in your art that you are mindful of what this could mean to other people. So this is obviously a very religious symbol, and it attributes towards a reference towards the Savior, Christianity and so forth. So there is a whole world of meaning ascribed to a cross in this particular shape. The other way to do a cross would be the inverted cross. So that could mean something completely different again to the world and the people around you and even to you. So this could also mean the opposite of that. So it is a reverse. So it's another way to look at a cross shape. To some people, it is literally just a vertical and a horizontal line crossing each other, and it has no further particular meaning or reference to them. Another way to do a cross is just a simple X. And I like to make this quite dark so that you guys can see what I'm doing and what I'm referencing. So a cross shape like this has also got various meanings. As an old rune symbol, it literally means love. And I think it's interesting that this came forward into the modern world. We sign our love letters with little crosses, and we indicate that we sort of give our loved ones kisses, or actually the correct reference for these little crosses is I love you. And that is quite beautiful, and it's one of my personal favorites. So another way to make a cross would be just to have it in equal balance both vertically and horizontally. And this particular cross would reference maybe a pharmacy, medicine, healing, a medical practice, that kind of thing. But we also find it in mathematics. So a plus sign or a cross sign like this would mean this plus this equals something else. So that is also quite interesting that it even has a mathematical vibration and communication. So you guys can begin to see how a symbol can mean so many different things to so many different people simply by the way that we use it and express it in our art. Another way to do a cross is something that you would find in maybe more of the South America's, Mexican world, and that would be these kind of Aztec inspired kind of line movements that forms a little bit of a pyramid that is inverted on itself. I hope that sort of represents it perfectly. I quite like these designs as well. We see them particularly in the South Americas and in the Americas, and I quite love this as well. This is another way to draw a cross. And then you also have, you know, different old world ways of doing a cross by having more than one line cross the vertical line. So there is so many ways to do a cross design, and that would have a very particular set of meaning and purpose for you. So I would love for you guys to just drop me a comment and tell me which one is your personal preference and why, because I always think that we can learn from each other and explore through our art the meaning that is ascribed to a particular set of symbols in the world. So you begin to see how powerful a very basic symbol can be to communicate either a warning or a set of rules or an understanding or a belief. So this is really powerful stuff. Right. So now that you guys know what the prompt is for the week, it's the color green, and we're going to explore some cross shapes. I think it is time for us to just go to our journals, and I want to just see how I can play with this favorite color of mine. Green is definitely one of my personal favorite colors, and I would like to see how I can express you know, this particular shape on this page. So thus far let's quickly have a page through and just a recap of where we started. In week 1 with our journal, we played with the color red and we played with a horseshoe or a U shape, and that was quite a lot of fun. Then the week after that, we did our orange and we did some doodles and some organic shapes, one of my other favorites. And last week we played with a star shape or zigzags and the color yellow, and this is how this page has turned out. So without further ado, let's move on to our next page. Now I wanted to maybe just initiate one of my pages with something dark and one of the pages with something light. So I want you guys to just bear with me, because I think an interesting way to go about this, let me just start again with a very trusted medium. And today I like to just explore the cross shape in its various forms, and I quite like to see what I can do to create some interesting marks. So I'm going to start on this page with a dark green marker, and I think, I don't know, I don't like to come to these classes overly prepared, so let's make some crosses randomly and in various sizes, because variety is the spice of life. And just activate this page with some crosses. Let's get some moving off the page. I always think that's a good idea to just get some movement off the page. It immediately opens up the page so that it doesn't feel so confined to a particular shape or size. I hope you guys can hear me. I'm trying to project and think and express myself creatively while telling you guys what I'm doing at the same time. Right, I think that's a good activation of that page. Let's switch to a different medium. Let's try a crayon and see what we can do with it. I also quite like these cross shapes that's sort of referenced in this way. So I'm using it almost like a zigzag, and I know that the wax is going to resist a wet medium if I work over this page with a wet medium. That's exciting. That's a good start. So you guys know the art journal and your art supplies, this is where you play and just express yourself and just experiment, have fun. There's no rules, but I do think that the prompt in dealing with a particular shade of color and a particular shape gives us a parameter in which to be creative in, and I always think that is a great idea. Now for today I would like to just bring in my watercolor a little bit. So let me just quickly grab my watercolor here, because I did tell you guys before that all mediums are welcome, and I haven't played with my watercolor yet. So let me move all of this aside, and I think the watercolor will be a great idea here. Seeing that this is a wax, it will resist a watery medium. So let me get my water bottle. I hope you guys can see, and I'm just going to activate my watercolor paints here. Let me get my watercolor brush out, because I think it can be fun to further initiate this page by playing with a little bit of watercolor. So let's see what I've got here. I think this is a Viridian green. Yes. Let's add more water to that. So I would like to add just a little bit of more blue to that, so that there's a little bit more oomph to it. And let's just see how various greens can flow into each other. What would happen is the biggest question you should ask yourself: what would happen if I added some of this cad yellow to this? It would make it a little bit more like an olivey green. That's fun. I'm even going to go over to this page. And then these two pages become one page because there's some element that connects everything. Now yellow is a foundational color to green. It's equal parts of blue and yellow, and that gives us green. So that's why I don't mind crossing over into another green. I hope you guys are enjoying these weekly prompts. It is definitely one way to get into your creative practice and not waste so much time thinking out ideas of what to do and how to bring these things together on a page. Because I know we are all busy and we have busy schedules and we don't always have time to, figure things out. Because it can be quite overwhelming to have a creative practice, get to your creative practice, and then get stumped with, okay, so what do I do now? Because there is so many endless opportunities for you to play with, and so to have a prompt really helps to maximize your time in your studio and have fun. Get into the actual part that is, the reason for you to get into it. To have fun, to play, and to experiment, and so forth. So I think I'm going to just grab a bit of a tissue. Now that I've activated both pages with a wet medium, let's just lay this on top just to absorb some of the excess water, because it's just a foundational layer. So this way we can add some texture as well, and we're going to allow this page to dry quickly. So I want you guys to bear with me just for 1 second. I'm going to pause the video and I'm just going to dry this quickly with my hair dryer. Right, thank you. I've dried this page. It's still a bit damp, but it is okay for me to start playing with this whole idea a little bit further. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a piece of charcoal here. And let me see, yes, this is the medium one. Where's my soft one? It's okay. Okay. I don't want to waste too much time. So I'm just going to use a piece of charcoal here, because I want to just create this cross shape in the middle of the page, like a negative, a design of some sort that I can work around and sort of preserve what is happening here in the interior. I think that's a good place to start. And while we're at it, let's add a little bit more texture and pattern, line work, and something happening on the page in the background. That works for me. All right. Okay, so like I said, one of the things I want to do today is to just have some organic shapes happening here. And I like the cross shape and making some marks with a type of medium. So I'm going to choose here an emerald green, and I'm going to add a little bit of black to it because I want quite a dark color, just for contrast's sake. And I'm just going to add a tiny little bit. That's almost too much. So when you add black to a color to create a shade, add tiny amounts at a time, because black is very powerful. You don't want it to overwhelm your color to the point where it just looks black. So I've got that emerald green here with a little bit of black, and that will just make it a bit darker and also flatten the chroma a little bit so it's not so bright. Right. So I like to just explore interesting little crisscrosses like that, and I'm using a brush that has a little bit of indentations cut into the bristles. That gives me a very interesting brush mark when I bring this to the page. I just laugh at myself because sometimes my dyslexic brain will turn things around and just make something else there with it. And that's totally cool. I've learned to love myself and embrace my little quirkiness as I go. So that's quite a lot of fun. That's a nice pattern we have in the background going there. So let's switch things up and mix a really bright color for the interior cross, so we can make that stand out. And I'm thinking this neon green might just be the thing for me to make this stand out a little bit. So I'm gonna just dispense a little bit, and then let's see how we can enhance that. Let's do something different here. I'm going to just outline this cross with this neon green. So if this is your first time on my channel, welcome here. Do hit that subscribe button and like this video, share it with your friends. I'm a creatively fit coach, and it is my mission to help people develop a creative practice. And the way that I do that is to demonstrate to you guys every week with a different prompt how you can play in an art journal, which is a very safe way to explore your creativity, and it frees us up because we are not so head in deer light in front of a blank canvas. I know how intimidating a blank canvas can be, and a blank page, and I've got so many friends joined in on my creative group on Facebook, The Creative Heart. I will share a link to my group there. Join us there because I do share a lot of free art classes and ideas over there, and the community is there to support you in your creative practice. So the idea is to have a creative practice so that we can exercise our right brain, and our right brain is where we use our creative thinking to solve problems and to see opportunities, because the right brain likes to interpret things in an abstract way. It uses our senses, and it looks at the world through the lens of symbolism and color, and it becomes quite a powerful tool when you learn to trust your intuition and your gut feelings, which is all the things that runs and operates through your right brain. And I do think that our left brain world is very powerful, and we are exposed to a lot of information that we have to process every day. I think that our left brains actually is overwhelmed and overworked because we depend so much on it to absorb information, make choices, and try and make the correct choices through the day. But I'm here to also tell you that there's nothing wrong with your left brain, but you also need your right brain. We need both of them. That's why each of us got a right brain and a left brain. But unfortunately, our modern world and our modern school system really only focuses on developing the left brain. And I think that the way going forward in solving the problems of the world is to think outside the box, is to look at opportunities that presents itself in the world in a whole new way. And for that, we need to use our right brain, because your left brain will think of the 110 million ways that things won't work, because our left brain can only reference the past. It cannot think forward. So if we try something new, the left brain most likely will tell you, nope, this won't work. It didn't work in the past, referencing a past experience where things maybe failed or didn't work out for you. And therefore, we tend to then give up and not try. So in having a creative practice, even if you don't think that you are a creative person, what happens is you begin to develop your right brain. It's almost like a right brain gym. And for just a few minutes every day or every week, you set aside your critical left brain that wants to process everything and analyze everything and understand everything, and that's all great. But just for a few minutes, just allow your inner child to play and allow yourself through mark making and color and in different mediums just to express yourself and have some fun. There is a lot of therapeutic advantages to this, so I want you to try it out for yourself, so that you can see how powerful this can be. So I've switched here to oil pastel, and I'm using it almost like a flat little chalk piece, and I'm just going to add some more interesting texture and pattern to my design. Really, this is where I practice my self-love as well. I'm practicing to love my mark making. I'm practicing to love my art, even the art that is ugly or doesn't have to become something. I think as Westerners, we can be quite product orientated, end product orientated, focused, especially as far as art and creativity is concerned. I find that people tend to want to separate themselves very quickly early on in a conversation with me as a creative coach, for example. I find that people will defend themselves very quickly and say, no, I'm not the creative one. My sister got the creative gene. I can appreciate creativity, but my sister or my brother or my aunt or my mother, they're the creative ones. I'm not creative because I can't even draw a stick figure. Now let me tell you, I like to challenge people on that as a creative coach and put a piece of paper in front of them and give them a drawing tool and say, there you go, please draw me a stick figure. Because we all know that we can. Because we are born creative. It is all part of our DNA. And I think in our modern world, we have learned to compare ourselves to established artists, to people that have some serious artistic skill and technique under the belt. And because we compare ourselves with that, we think we are not artistic, it's only reserved for artists. Well, part of my job is to challenge that belief and say, no, I think that we are all creative in our own way. The trick really is not to compare, because it is not about comparison. It is not about yours versus the other person's. It is really just about you. And I think that's why a creative little art journal like this is the ideal medium to play in, because it can be private. It doesn't have to become this artwork that you hang in your house or frame or try to sell, because that's not what our focus is. Our focus is on learning to express ourselves, and I provide that weekly prompt to just give you a focus so that you have a starting point where you can play in your art journal, and through this playing and exploration, experimentation, begin to develop an understanding of your own personal art ethos, and also get some brush mileage under your belt where you become better at it. Because even if you're an athlete, you need to practice and exercise and prepare for a marathon. It doesn't just happen. So the same way with your creative practice. So you can imagine what this little art journal is going to look like when we filled all of these pages with a different prompt, and we've played with a different medium and so forth. So I also wanted to show you guys what we just did on our Facebook group, because I think this turned out rather well, and I'm so excited to share this with you. So here's another way that I expressed myself on Facebook this morning. I prepared the ground with a darker olivey green, and we also used this neon green with some white, made some lovely marks, and then I used my black, what is this called, oil pastel, sorry, and I just did some random crosses in between that. So that's another one that we did this morning. And I also have this lovely page where I used an acrylic marker, and I also played on a dark olive green background, and I created something new. I tried a new way of doing this zigzag pattern that was quite beautiful, so I will definitely want to play with that one again in the future. So I hope this has been inspiring for you guys. You get what the prompt for the week is all about. So please remember to join us on the Creative Art group on Facebook. Take a photograph of your exercise when you are done and share it with us there, because that way I can support you. So thank you so much for tuning in this week, and I am looking forward to see all of your green cross-shaped experiments on your page. So thanks for tuning in. I'll chat again with you guys next week. Bye bye for now.